Hi everyone, thank you for tuning into my channel today. I am back this week. Like I said, I was going to be back to talk about the UAP hearing that took place Tuesday on the 17th. I have my thoughts on it. I'm not going to say a bit disappointed because I wasn't expecting much. Before I get started, I want to give a thanks and a shout out to all my new subscribers who subscribed to my channel to listen to me talk. So I do appreciate that. Okay, so let's get started. The UAP hearing that took place on Tuesday. First of all, I thought they were going to have military witnesses. What happened to the military witnesses they were going to have? The rumor was they were going to have at least two, and I guess maybe it was just rumor because they had no military witnesses to come on there and speak, which was a big disappointing from the start. I will give it credit, though. It is a historic moment because, of course, they had the Congress, U.S. House Intelligence, but Congress hasn't had a hearing or discussion on UAPs, UFOs in over 50 years or 50 years. So it is a historic moment. But as for everything else, I don't know. And just because it is a historic moment doesn't mean that something is going to come from this hearing. I guess I just was really disappointed, and other people were, because they really thought they were going to have military witnesses come on there and testify, which I don't understand why they didn't. I mean, they did have the two guys from the UAT task force, or whatever they want to call it now, AIMSOG. I guess that's the proper term they call it now. It was, let's see, Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security, Ronald Moultrie, and Scott Bray, who was Deputy Director of Naval Intelligence. They're speaking about the UAP subject. So first, I don't know, I guess my thoughts are, what really got me is when they asked him, Deputy Director of Naval Intelligence Scott Gray, about communicating with these objects that are in their airspace. When the congressman asked him, do you guys, when these objects fly into your airspace, do you communicate with them or attempt to? And he was like, no, which I think that's an absolute BS. I think that's just lie. I was like, what the hell, WTF? I just couldn't believe. There is absolutely no way that they aren't attempting to communicate with these objects. You have an unknown object flying around in your airspace, and you mean to tell me you're not going to attempt to communicate with these things? Whatever. That's just a load of crap. And anybody who believes that, no one is going to believe that. They're just not going to believe that. I remember that abduction story, I think it was the Allagash brothers and their friend who went camping up north somewhere. This happened, I want to say the 80s, maybe the 90s. I don't remember the exact date, but I'm sure you guys know the abduction story. They saw this light off in the distance while they were out there camping, and they thought it was a star, maybe the moon, or I can't remember what they thought the object was. And one of the guys flashed their light at this thing, and then it responded by flashing back, and then this thing flew up on them. And they realized it wasn't an airplane, it wasn't the moon, it was just some alien craft. So it gave a response to them. So I can imagine the UAP task force, who's ever studying these things, who's ever encountering these things in our atmosphere, they have to be in trying to engage with these things, because if it responded back to those three guys after the middle of the wilderness, I highly think it's going to respond to somebody else. They might not get a direct talking communication, but I just don't believe that these things did not respond when military or whoever was trying to engage with these things. There's just no way. That's just completely BS. I think he just outright lied on that. And then the other question that Congressman Gallagher asked him, he was my favorite, I think, out of all of them. When he asked them about the Maelstrom incident that happened in 1967. Even I knew that. It happened in March of 1967. You have this unknown object, this orb, flying over a nuclear facility, shutting down 10 nuclear missiles. And you mean to tell me these guys had no clue about this incident? They work in intelligence and security. I find that hard to believe they didn't know about that. If I know about this, damn well they should have known about that incident. If they don't know about that, then that's really bad on the UAP task force or MSOC, whatever they want to call it. Because that tells me, are they not going back studying the past cases, or are they only studying cases starting from 2004 with the TICPAC on up until now? That looks really, really bad. That just looks bad that they don't know, or they claim they don't know about that incident. I just don't know how they could not know about that. That's a high, like the Congressman Gallagher said, that's a high profile case. You have this orb flying over this nuclear facility, shutting down these missiles, and they don't know anything about it. Like I say, if they don't know about that, if they don't know about that, what's the purpose of the UAP task force? What are they doing? If they're not studying these past cases from decades ago, these things have been seen, these crafts, these objects have been seen since the 40s, and they're not stopping. And you mean to tell me they don't know anything about these cases that have, and then that wasn't the only nuclear facility these objects have been seen of. What about the Rendlesham case over in England? They not know about them. They have to know about these cases. They just have to. I just don't buy it. They don't know about these cases. They need to be putting me to work up in the UAP task force office, because I'm pretty sure I can do a better job of informing Congress about objects that have been seen flying over nuclear facilities. That just blows my mind. Oh my God, the other question that threw me off, that really I just couldn't believe that was asked, was about the Admiral Wilson or Eric D.W. notes. That just caught me for a shock. I was going, what the F? Can't believe he asked him about those notes. But of course they said they had no clue about it. You got the Admiral Wilson in the Navy, which I'm pretty sure he had to cross paths with Deputy Director of Naval Intelligence. I would think so. I would think they are running that same circle. You would think they would have heard about those notes. It's possible they didn't, but even so, for Congressman Gallagher to come out there and ask about those notes, that was insane. I can imagine if Admiral Wilson was following this hearing and he heard about that come on. They asked about that. He must have been like pissed. Probably. I wonder, was Eric Davis pissed? I was watching. Oh my God, what? I think it was Richard Dolan I was following yesterday, because he was talking about the panel and everything in the hearing. And we were in the chat, and there was somebody in the chat was saying they need to subpoena Admiral Wilson and Eric Davis. Can you imagine if they subpoenaed them? That would be insane. That would absolutely be insane. Because I definitely believe those EDW notes are legit. You know, my favorite part out of those notes it's in there when they said it's not made by man, not made on earth, not made by man, not by human hands, or something like that. I wish I had the notes in front of me, but I have them saved. I'll have to get them out later. But that was my favorite part of those notes. Not made by man, not by human hands. I know that just sticks with me. It just tingles when I read about those notes. If you guys haven't checked those notes, you should read them. You can find them on, I think, Injure. They should still be on there. But there are some incredible notes, and I think they're absolutely legit. But yeah, back to this hearing that happened. I don't know. I just don't think much is going to come from it. I want to be hopeful, but I don't know. The government, the military, whoever's been maintaining this cover up for decades, starting with Roswell, actually probably before Roswell. If you guys have read Jacques Vallée and Paola Harris' book, oh, do I have it here? Where is that book? Oh, I think I left it at work. Trinity case. And this happened 2 years before Roswell, 1945. Or these two young boys had came upon a wreckage out on their farm that a UFO. It was kind of like almost kind of like the Tic Tac shape. But I think the kids said it was like a maybe a I can't remember. It was a dark color. It could have been gray. It could have been a dark green. I can't remember what color it was. But yeah, this happened 2 years before Roswell. So we all think that the cover up started with Roswell, but maybe it started with the Trinity case. And these kids, I don't think are lying. You guys have to read the book if you haven't. It's called Trinity by Jack Belay and Paula Harris. So yeah, like I say, who's ever been maintaining this cover up for 70 some years are not just going to let stuff start coming out now. It doesn't matter if Congress had a hearing. I don't think really Congress has any power of this. I don't think those two guys, Deputy Director Scott Gray and Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence Security Ronald Moultrie, I don't really think they're in on it. I don't think they know how deep the cover up goes. I think it's way above them. I think, like I said, who's ever covering this up, just because they have a hearing, doesn't mean anything's gonna come for this. It's just been covered up too long. So I just don't know where we're gonna go from this. I mean, it's a good thing that they had the hearing, but as far as anything positive coming from it, I just don't know. Oh my God, in that crappy video that they showed, I'm thinking in their database, the data they've collected, they could have came out with a far better video than that little video of that little small dot that you couldn't even make out what it was. They could have used like the Phoenix Lights video. That's like far better. Or even they could have, I know they had to have other videos in their database besides that little crap video. That was such an embarrassment that they brought that out there because you could not make out what it was. And then the other video of the triangles, I mean, that was a pretty good one, but the way he was describing it, that is how it shows through the night vision goggles. The light comes in through the night vision goggles and reflects onto the, I think he said the SDL camera, something, that's why it appears as a triangle. So I don't know if I'm understanding that right. Is he saying that is that not the actual shape of the object? It appears like a triangle because of the light that's coming through it, which doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I don't know. You guys can explain it better to me. Maybe I'm understanding it wrong, or maybe he just wasn't understanding it wrong. But either way it go, what I'm a little bit upset about is why didn't the congressman ask, okay, he showed the video of the triangles and he said it was an unmanned drone. So why didn't they ask, okay, so where did these swarm of drones come from? Where did they disappear to? How big were these things? It was, the fact is there was these swarm of drones way off in the military training area, out in the ocean, that just appeared out of nowhere, and they didn't bother to ask where these things came from. They just like, oh, it was some unmanned drone, and they just left it at that. They didn't have any more questions about it, unless they talked about it in the closed hearings, which is possible. And then the other thing that they brought up about observing, or were they detecting anything under the water? Which leads me to think, obviously, yes, because they're like, oh, we're going to talk about the closed hearing. Why couldn't you just talk about it now? I can understand them not wanting to reveal security measures of how they were detecting these objects or whatever, or what type of technology they were using to capture these things on images, but telling us if they were detecting them underwater, how is that going to affect anything? They don't have to tell us about the technology they used to capture it, but they could tell us about how they was, if they were detecting these things underwater, which I would think they would have to be detecting these things underwater, because if you have submarines out there and they're using sonar, they would have to be detecting these things in the oceans, because oftentimes these crafts are seen over the ocean. It's like with the Tic Tac when Captain David Fravor flew up, and was encountering this thing. He said this thing was hovering over the ocean, and there was like there was another object underneath the ocean because it was like whitewash. So the Navy has to be encountering these things under the ocean. I really doubt they're not. And then, oh my God, what was the other thing I wanted to mention about? Oh, it's like right there on the tip of my tongue. Where are my notes at? Oh, the other thing with Congressman, I think LaTroy, I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, but when he asked him, so what are you guys going to do about legality? Or he was kind of saying like prosecuting someone for misinformation about UFOs. I'm like, what the WTF? Like, you want to prosecute somebody about talking about UFOs or UAPs? First of all, how are you going to prosecute somebody when you can't even get our government or military to confirm that these things exist? So what are you going to prosecute them? What are you going to charge against them? You would have to confirm that these things exist or whatever to be talking about prosecuting somebody for misinformation or misleading the public or whatever. That makes absolutely no sense. And it'd be like, it's like saying he would want to go out and prosecute or bring charges or whatever against somebody like me or somebody like you talking about this on YouTube or some social media platform. That's like starting to take away your freedoms. That makes absolutely no sense. That is what really bothered me. And it also really bothered Richard Dolan. Richard Dolan was talking about this happening even before this panel came on. He was talking about how the government or the military would start talking about punishing people or charging people or bringing charges against people for talking about UFOs or UAPs or whatever. And that's exactly what that congressman was talking about, which is absolutely insane. You want to bring charges against somebody or punish somebody for talking about UAPs. You can't even get our government or any government around the world to confirm exist that these things are here, that we're being visited. But yeah, that just blew my mind. That just really bothered me. So, what else? The other thing. Oh, so I was on Linda Moulton Howe channel today, or I say yesterday because it's Thursday here, and it was Wednesday because she does a show every Wednesday, usually from 9:30 to 10:30. And she was talking about the panel too in the hearing, and we were in the chat, and her group of people who come every week were talking about it. And one guy was in there, and he was mentioning they didn't even bring up abductions and and stuff like that. And I'm thinking to myself, they could even confirm that these things exist. They still trying to push that these things are possibly China or Russia. There were no way they were going to even talk about abductions. They were just not. I don't know if they're going to ever get to that. That's one subject they definitely don't want to touch on, abductions. It would be nice, but I highly doubt that. We can't even get them confirmed that these things are not from Earth, not of man. So they're not going to begin to abduction phenomenon anytime soon. But yeah, like I said, back to this AIMSOC task force, UAP task force. I don't know what they're doing in this task force. I hope they're not wasting our tax dollars. They was telling me they want to be transparent and they want to be more open, and they're thinking about the citizens and national security or whatever. I thought all that BS. They're not thinking about the citizens. They have no desire to be transparent with us on this topic, and they're not going to be. If they can keep this secret they're going to try to keep this secret as long as they possibly can. Something is going to have to force their hand for them to come out and tell us the truth, and it's going to have to be short of ETs, whatever, just completely revealing themselves to us. Then maybe they'll come out the truth. They'll probably still lie their way to the end, but other than that, they're not going to come out and just tell us the truth. It's just, it would just raise up so many questions because they have just been covering this thing up for decades or whatever. They're just never going to admit to. They're not going to be transparent on it. That's just the way it's going to be. Oh, what else did I want to mention? Oh, when they asked him about recovering material or like technology or whatever, and they was like they haven't recovered anything or they don't have any technology or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, but that's complete BS. Maybe they don't know about it. Moultrie and Bray don't know about the government or military recovering technology, but I definitely know I can't say for certain of obviously, I'm not on the end they have that technology, but you know they have it. You go back to Bob Lazar, they've outsourced that technology because I was, like I said, I follow Richard Dolan a lot, and you know they've outsourced that technology to private companies like Lockheed Martin or Raytheon or whatever. So it's not within the government and it's not within the military. So you're not going to be able to do a FOIA request on it to find out where it is. It's in private contractors' hands. So it's going to be damn near impossible to find out who has what and who recovered what. But you know they have it. You have Roswell. You have Trinity. You have Kingman, Arizona. You have Aztec, Arizona. You have the oh my God. What was the one that crashed in Pennsylvania? You guys know what I'm talking about. I can't think of what it was, but it was the one shaped like an acorn or whatever, and they came in the middle of the night and they hauled it off. And it's not just the United States. You've had these things fly over other countries, possibly crash in other countries, because there's been cases of them that have crashed in South America and the US came in and took it away or whatever. So you have to know they would have to have this technology, but they're not going to come at it and say, oh yeah, we have alien technology, we reverse engineered it or whatever. They're never ever going to admit to that unless something forces their hand to. They're just not going to. And I happen to think that a lot of these crafts that people see flying around, I definitely believe some of it is reversed alien tech. Not all of it. I think some of it is reversed alien tech, and I think some of it is tech that are flown by something not from this world. That's just the way it is. So I don't know, you guys. Let me know your thoughts about the UAP panel in here. Do you guys think something more is going to come from it? And I mean, it'd be nice if we have more hearings on it, or some. If they, I would be absolutely amazed and stunned if they be more transparent with us on this topic. But I'm not hopeful. I'm just, call me Debbie Downer or whatever. I don't mean to burst your bubble, but I don't live in that world, that dream world where I have all this hope that the government's just going to come out and reveal their secrets to us and share this alien tech or whatever. I mean, at this point, we should be done flying on airplanes using petroleum. We should have like beaming technology on Star Trek where we can beam over into like Paris or London and England in like a second or whatever, but we're still using petroleum flying around on these planes while these small group of people, nefarious people, whoever is controlling this technology, I guarantee there's a small group of people, probably from the military, probably from the government, who's benefiting from this tech, while the rest of us just lives blindly in the dark, while they keep telling us it's going to be Russia or it's China that are flying these things in our airspace, and they're not bothering to make contact with it. Even after 9/11, these things are just, they don't know. That just really blew me when he said they haven't made contact with these things. I'm like, that was such a slap in the face. It's just like arrogance or whatever. If they just come out there and tell us whatever, and we'll just tell them whatever. We'll just get this hearing over with and just be done with it. They will have some stupid idiots that I believe whatever we tell them and then be done with it. Absolutely insane. And it just blows my mind that he said that. Blows my mind he didn't know about Maelstrom either. That's just, what do you know about? What do they know about? What are they doing in the office all day? What are they using their tax dollars for in that UAP task force office? How many people do they have working there? Are they going out questioning people? That's the other thing. Moultrie was like, well, we don't, an official would have to bring a case to our attention for us to study it. Why? Why would somebody official need to bring a case for you guys to your attention for you to do some research and study it? That's the whole point, purpose of the task force. You're supposed to be out there studying these things. You have cases from decades ago. Look at Richard Dolan's book, UFOs in the National Security State. He has a timeline for you in sections. Hudson Valley sightings that happened in Italy, sightings that happened in this country, in Europe, and it's outdated from like 80s and 90s and so on. Look at his book. What about going to the UFO National Reporting website? The information is out there. Do they not get out there and talk to people? Do they not go there and then do footwork? Do they just sit there in offices, wait for someone to call them? I don't get it. I just don't get it whatsoever. Oh my God. I just don't understand. I just don't understand. I don't know. I'm just lost on words. I'm lost on words when he said that. And Congressman Gallagher was like, why aren't you guys studying this? That's your job. That is what you're supposed to do. Why do you? I mean, he really let them have it, which they rightly so deserved. Like I said, he was my favorite one. I don't know. I just don't know. So, I don't know. I think that's all I'm venting about as far as the task force you guys go. I don't know. Oh my God, the other thing I wanted to learn how to do is astral project my consciousness out of my body. If anybody can give me some suggestions, because I can't meditate. I know it takes a lot of practice, like meditation and clearing your mind and stuff like that, but I just can't calm my mind like that. Or I want to learn how to remote view too. Richard Dolan's wife, Tracy Garbutte Dolan, she's a remote viewer, and she's explained some amazing stuff to us that she's done. If you guys aren't part of his website, you should check it out and become a member. It's Richard Dolan members. Usually him and Tracy are doing a show every week. Usually Richard does a show like 2 or 3 times a week. Then Tracy comes on and stuff, and she's talking about her remote viewing or whatever. So it's pretty cool. I would love to learn how to remote view, but I think you either got it or you don't, unless you need, or unless you have using some illicit drugs to help you get to that spot or whatever. Because me, I don't have it, and I don't know if I'm gonna ever get there. But anyway. That's my thoughts. That's my little rant about the hearing. Let me see if there's anything else on my notes that I wanted to talk about. No, I think that's it. I don't know. I can imagine Admiral Wilson and Eric Davis are just probably sitting at home venting. I wonder how many people probably called him or asked him about that after they heard that on the pen up, and he probably just sitting there fuming because there was a time when Richard Dolan had called him. He was telling us about this during one of his shows that he called Admiral Thomas Wilson. He called him like he was doing something else, but was calling him about something else. So then when he got him on the phone, he really told him what he was calling about. He said Admiral Wilson was so pissed or whatever. He just hung up the phone. He just told him, I know about the documents. I know they're legit. He wanted him to talk to him. He would not talk to him about it. He just hung up the phone in his face. So you can imagine this keeps coming back up on the surface about him trying to get access to these SAP programs that he didn't have access to. That must have just made him irate. Because he's an admiral of the Navy, of the intelligence community. He thought he could just walk into these places, these private corporations or whatever. And they don't mention the private corporation that had this tech, but you know it has to be like Lockheed Martin or whatever, or Raytheon. And there's another one I can't think of. Oh my God. Northman and Grumman, I think it's the other one. You have to know they probably outsource some of that tech to these companies. And unfortunately, Admiral Wilson couldn't get access because he didn't have access to. He wasn't in the in crowd. He probably ain't never going to be. I bet he's probably still pissed about that to this day. I know I would be. Oh, well, I guess that's it, you guys, for tonight. I don't know. I'll probably be back on tomorrow to vent. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think I have anything else on my notes I want to talk about. So yeah, give me some feedback below. Let me know what you guys think. I hope there's some conferences going on this year. I miss going to the UFO conferences. Normally I go to the International UFO Congress that's out in Phoenix, but I'm not sure if she's going to be having it this year. She was supposed to have it in person and online last year's Karen Bard and Alexander Rojas, who usually organizes their over the conference or whatever, but she switched it out to online last year. And I think COVID has just really messed everything up for her in the conference. It was really nice going out there and meeting people and hearing about their experiences or whatever. Because like I said, I've never experienced anything. I've never seen anything, but I definitely believe a lot of these people. So I don't know. I don't know if she's going to have the conference in person this year. It'd be nice. Or any conference at all. I would love to go and listen to people. So if you guys know anything or have any thoughts, like I said, I appreciate the feedback below. That's it. Bye.